the Department of Government Evil that the Democrats are now coining Doge. It's now the Department of Government Evil. Here is this is Elon actually tweeted out saying they're hiding massive fraud and don't want their grift to end. This is how we know we are over the target. Everything Doge does will be published for the world to see. Let the public judge for themselves. And this is Democrats calling it the Department of Government Evil. Let's go ahead and play that.
They've highly favored their faith. They believed in an America that was for all people. They get up every morning. They put on their clothes and they come to buildings like this all over the country to do a simple, nonpartisan job, and that is to serve the people of America with the best service they can provide. Yes, they work hard. Yes, they play by the rules. Yes, they love their country. Yes, they cherish their faith. And yes, they want a fair shot. What we're seeing coming out of Washington is anything but that. Every time you hear Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, you just remember it is the Department of Government Evil. Over.
The Department of Government Evil. That is what's going on here. Oh my gosh, terrible. Here is this also kind of came out there with this Doge court. This is a government worker reporting that young Doge workers were coming in and holding these kind of 15-minute kangaroo courts to decide if federal employees could keep their jobs. This is kind of this is one of the things that's triggering people to be really concerned about Doge and questioning whether or not Doge is abusing its power. Should these Doge employees or these Doge workers that are just these young 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, should they be asking government workers, well, what do you do here exactly? Can you justify your job? And then if they can't, saying, all right, you don't need to be here anymore, we're cutting you. Is that up to a 19, 20, 21-year-old who's probably never even had a real job, doesn't know how companies work, or maybe that's the benefit of them. But nonetheless, this is a government worker saying this is concerning and this is why it's concerning.
I was nervous and reticent to come here and speak just for retaliation purposes. I just wanted to share some things that are going on at my agency. In the last week, we had Elon Musk in our building, and after he visited the building, he called for a 50% cut of the entire agency. My colleagues are getting 15-minute one-on-one check-ins with 19, 20, and 21-year-old college graduates asking to justify their existence. Supervisors are being told not to tell their staff anything, withhold information. And today we got word that supervisors must now fill out a justification form, and that there's going to be just a 30% rank and yank of all staff in my agency. And to top it all off, one of Musk's top lieutenants and his wife and young child have shacked up on the 6th floor of our agency and are living there. The hallway's been blocked off with a special access list for people who can't get back there. Queer and trans folks of my agency are being doxxed in public. Their lives threatened. And I was nervous and reticent to come up here and speak.
So they're really freaking out about, all of these young kids. Let's actually kind of look at the Doge team and see who they are, because they're saying these are these fresh-faced 19, 20, 21-year-olds, and they're running these 15-minute kangaroo courts, and some of them are even now living in the building. Elon Musk is reportedly living in the Doge headquarters in Washington, D.C. It's at the Eisenhower building, I believe, and he's known for doing that when he's going and doing a big project, and it's going to take a lot of hours. He's known for crashing in the building and not going home, if he even has a home. I don't even actually know if Elon has a home or if he just lives in all of his factories and workspaces, which might be the case, because I think that's usually been what's reported. But this is the young, fresh-faced Doge team that people are really freaking out about, saying, what are these young people? We haven't vetted them. They're not government workers. We haven't done background checks on them. We don't know who these people are. The first guy is Gavin Kligger. He's 25 years old. This is the top row, so we're going to go top row. You see the 25-year-old, 23-year-old Luke Ferritor. Ethan Chotran is 22 years old. Down on the bottom, you've got Gautier Cole Killian. He's 24 years old. Akash Boba, 21 years old, and Edward Korestein, aka Big Balls, is what they're calling him because he used to call himself that. That was like an online handle. He's only 19 years old. And with him in particular, he's been making a lot of the headlines, the 19-year-old, because there was a report that came out that he was once fired from an internship at Path Network after an internal probe found that he had leaked sensitive information to a competitor. He then claimed that isn't true. He denied the allegations, saying that he would never do that, but he was let go from the company after there were some suspicions that he was leaking sensitive information. So then people are saying, well, should he have access to sensitive information now by being able to get into all of these government systems? He has kind of this unfettered access. And should he have that kind of access when he's had this sort of background where he was giving away sensitive information back in 2012? That would make him what? I mean, it's now 2025. He's 19 years old. He's probably turning 20 this year. So he was, 16 years old, 16, 17 years old when he was doing that internship, 16 or something. Another person who's not pictured here, I think we have his picture, Marco Elez. He's another one that has been a lot of controversy over him. He was fired, or he wasn't fired from Doge, but he resigned from Doge after it was found that his online handle had been making comments that people viewed as racist or like eugenics or things like that. Apparently, some of the things that he had posted online that caused him to resign was, "I would not mind at all if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth." I think, we've heard many Israelis talk about wiping Palestinians off the face of the earth. They claim that Palestinians say that about them all the time. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, maybe you both should just disappear. I don't know. So he said that, and that caused controversy. Then also he said, "Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool." He said that in July of 2024. In September of 2024, shortly before the account was deleted, he posted, "You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity." And he also said, "Normalize Indian hate." And JD Vance, his wife, is of Indian origin, ethnicity, and even she advocated for him to get his job back. Elon Musk says that he will be bringing him back. He said he will be brought back. "To err is human, to forgive is divine." So he's thinking that everybody should forgive him for these posts and that he should be brought back. Now, look, a lot of people say stupid stuff in their youth. But this guy is 25 years old, and he didn't say these things that long ago. I mean, he was saying this when he was 24, 25 years old. It's old enough to know better if you're going to be saying things online, certainly old enough to know whether or not this would haunt you. So, I mean, it'd be one thing if he said this a couple of years ago when he was 16, 17, like Big Balls. But this kid is not a kid. I mean, he's a man, 25-year-old man. There are many people who are fathers by the time they're 24, 25 years old. And so, I mean, the question people have is, should we have people like this working for Doge, gaining access to our sensitive information? I think it's fair questions to ask. I think what I'm seeing right now with the Doge team is a lot of hyper partisanship when it comes to it. You've got Democrats saying the Department of Government evil, looking at anything and everything Doge is doing. And rather than working with them to actually find waste, fraud, and abuse, they're just crying about all of it and saying this is terrible and none of this should be happening. These billionaires are having access to our information and they shouldn't, which is really no different than government contractors. They're saying these are unelected officials. Well, government contractors are unelected officials and they have access to all of our sensitive information. Elon Musk has had top level security clearance for a long time, working with the government on SpaceX and other and other things. Jeff Bezos has top level security clearance for working as a government contractor in the new wave of military industrial complex, which is the technical stuff. I don't know everybody that work. Do I get to vote on the people that work at Northrop Grumman? Do I get to vote on the people that work at Boeing in the weapons arena? I mean, do I get to decide on any of that? I don't think any of us really do. So I think there's a little bit of kind of overreaction about, well, we didn't elect these people. We don't know who they are, when so many different government contractors have so much access to our information, and we don't know who they are either. So I think there's a little bit of partisan overzealousness about that. But on the flip side, when you're looking at Republicans, it's the same. I mean, they're just turning a blind eye to all of this and not wanting to scrutinize and say, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's something to this. Like, we believed that the Doge team was going to be not necessarily going and firing all these government workers, but making recommendations, that this was supposed to be an advisory board, not a board that goes in, sits down and does 15-minute kangaroo courts and then decides whether or not the person should have a job. They should make a recommendation, but not actually pull the trigger. And maybe that's what's going on. Maybe they're making a recommendation, and then Trump has advised all of the members of his cabinet who are heads of these different departments that, yeah, whatever the Doge team says, I want that to happen. I mean, maybe that's what Trump is advising them. And so they're the ones who are actually signing their name on the dotted line. That's possible. It's hard to know what is how the process is going. But if the process isn't going like that, then I think there is some level of concern that the American people should have. And certainly we should be scrutinizing it. Another thing about this Doge group is that I'm not seeing Republicans all tied up in a knot yet. And I don't think that if it's truly draining the swamp, I don't think it should be one-sided. We should see Republicans upset. I want to see both sides upset over budget cuts that are happening and waste, fraud, and abuse being rooted out. You can't just tell me it's just Democrats who are the wasteful, fraudulent ones. No, it's been happening on both sides for the longest time. So I want to see some Republicans start to scream and cry and weep and wail and gnash their teeth. I want to see it happening everywhere. That's what I want to see. And I'm not seeing it come from the Republicans yet. Maybe it will. Maybe right now, Trump and Elon Musk are just trying to get in the good graces of the Republicans before they knock them in the teeth. Maybe that's what they're doing, or maybe they just never will. And this will just be a partisan Doge team. And don't think that Democrats aren't going to take a page out of this book and do it when it's their turn. Don't think they're never going to come to power again, because they certainly will. And when they do, will they have their own Doge team? And what will the Doge team cut? Hopefully a lot. I mean, I understand that Democrat ethos is different than Republican ethos, which is Democrats tend to like bigger government. So there's maybe a thinking there that there's more Democrat waste to cut, which I could understand that given kind of the nature of the two. But the military industrial complex has been bipartisan for a very long time. And I would just love to see somebody just knock the teeth right out of that one. But I doubt, Trump says that they're going to go after the military industrial complex, but who wants to bet that they actually do? I would like to see that for myself. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show. If you want to watch the full show, visit KimIversonShow.com. The show airs every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's KimIversonShow.com. See you there.